If bedtime has become the vein of your very existence, then I suggest that you subscribe to my channel to find out all my tips and strategies on how to get through bedtime and win bedtime battles. My name is Nikki Morrow with To the Moon and Back Behavioral Consulting, and my job is to make your lives as parents easier in the day-to-day. So by popular demand, I am creating this video series. I have already done a few videos on this, so go back and watch those if you haven't. And I will get into today's topic, which is setting yourself up for success by having the proper tools to go ahead and start this sleep training process, or this transition from your toddler sleeping with you to sleeping in their own room. So I have already done a more extensive in-depth video on the tot clock. It's called My Tot Clock, actually, and it is my secret weapon. I'll show it again in this video. But if you want to know specifics on its functions and how to use it and all that, go ahead and watch my first video in this series, which is the intro to winning bedtime battles. So the sleep clock is just so important. It's such a fundamental tool just so that your child can have a visual representation of, or a visual cue of what time it is. It's time for bedtime. Is it time for wake time? All those different things, because later on I'm going to give you strategies on how to utilize those different color lights in order to get your child to be motivated to go through the bedtime process, to be motivated to stay in their room until the light turns yellow and maybe give you a little bit of time to sleep in. Different things like that. Yes, it can be done, and I have done it with my own daughter, and I've helped other parents do that. So it can be done. Just have faith and stay tuned for the subsequent videos. But that is the first tool that I really recommend, is at least some sort of sleep clock. If you don't want to get My Tot Clock, because it is an investment, you can go ahead and get some sort of sleep clock that has an awake light and a sleep light would be the basic thing that I would recommend. But again, the tot clock is great because it reads a story and it plays songs, which helps later on with your child gaining a fear of the dark because of their active imagination around the age of 2.5 to 3. So, an investment. But my next tip is to get a nightlight for that reason. For the reason of, around, again, 2.5 to 3 is when their imaginations just take wild, or go wild with them. And they're going to start becoming afraid of the shadows in their rooms, afraid of, those things that they can't see, like under their bed. And their mind is going to take them to the scariest place possible. So if you give them a little bit of light in their room, nothing too bright because you don't want to affect their sleep cycles, but a little bit of ambient light in their room, it really helps to ease that anxiety and those fears. So the next thing that I recommend, the next tool, is to have some sort of comfort object. If your child hasn't already picked one of those, then, you may want to ask them, say, hey, since mommy isn't going to be in the room with you anymore, is there something that would bring you comfort? Is there something that you would love to have with you? A tip that my daughter actually made up was one day she requested to have my t-shirt that I was sleeping in. She wanted to have that t-shirt with her in her bed, and she said that it made her feel better and that it smelled like me. I know it's kind of weird, a lot of times they do that with dogs or with animals, to make them feel comfortable when the owner is gone or something. But apparently it works with kids as well, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? They have your scent, they're used to your scent being nearby. and it's familiar to them. So that might be kind of like a little trick to try with your child. Is nothing gross, nothing that you've gotten super uber sweaty in or is kind of really nasty, but just something that has your familiar scent, maybe that you slept in for the night before or something. You can try that. So the next thing that I highly recommend is to produce an environment that's conducive to sleep. And the tool that I recommend is having blackout curtains or some sort of blackout shades. So this really helps for consistency, you know, during the time change times where they may be going to bed when it's still bright outside, or nap times when they are going to bed when it's still bright outside. It really helps. I know a lot of kids are photosensitive, so like the slightest bit of light or natural daylight, it triggers this awake signal in their brain, and they just have the hardest time calming down and falling asleep. So it really helps to be able to have that type of control over the environment that your child is in. So those are my main tools that I suggest for embarking on this sleep training, transitioning journey, to get your kid comfortable and really building those, again, those positive sleep associations with their bed, their bedroom, and that environment. So if you found this helpful, please like it, share it, follow me and subscribe so you don't miss any of my other upcoming videos or tips on this. And then I want to give you a teaser that next week's video is going to be about pre-bedtime wind down. So this is going to give you tips on how to physically, mentally, emotionally set your child up for sleep. You know, the wind down. And these are really important tips to know in order to make this transition successful. So I will see you again next week, and take care. Have a wonderful day.